There is a man in Elden Ring who wears clothes, and a man who does not. They both follow the religion known as the Golden Order. The one with the cheeks on display is called Goldmask, and the other is Brother Corhyn. In this video, we will find out what the deal is with Goldmask, and why Brother Corhyn becomes a crybaby. Goldmask's questline begins quite early on in the game. When you first reach Roundtable Hold, you will find a nice man.
Hello.
This nice man is called Brother Corhyn. He is a religious scholar and spends his time exploring the secrets of the Golden Order. Corhyn asks you if you still see the guidance of grace, and if you say yes, he immediately tries to entrap you into joining his Bible study group, Major Door Knocker Energy. For tens of hours of gameplay, he just stands there in Roundtable Hold, alone and by the wall. He doesn't sit down at the table with the cool kids. Corhyn is truly alone. When you get to the Altar's Plateau, he will decide to leave the Roundtable Hold in search of Goldmask. Corhyn says that he intends to study under him, but there is actually a more tragic reason. Corhyn could not make any friends at Roundtable Hold. The main reason for this is that he was wearing a blindfold, so he could not actually see the cool kids sitting down at the cool kids table. But why is he wearing a blindfold in the first place? Is it some religious thing? Maybe he has an eye injury. Both of these are wrong. You will notice that his blindfold perfectly covers something. His hairline. You see, Corhyn is going bald, and it's giving him so much anxiety that he is using a blindfold to conceal his hairline. He can't use a hat because wearing hats indoors is very silly, if not unhinged. He could shave his hair off, but in order to understand why Corhyn won't do this, we need to talk about Grand Theft Auto 4, or as the kids call it, Grand Theft Auto IV. Everyone knows that Grand Theft Auto is the best franchise when it comes to male pattern baldness. Most of the protagonists exhibit it, and many side characters do as well. However, there is one character in particular that is worth talking about when it comes to male pattern baldness. Brucey Kibbutz. He is a character that has made appearances in GTA 4 and GTA 5. Looking at him in GTA 4, even though he has a shaved head, you can already see that his hairline is receding. Rockstar actually went to the effort of including this detail, but furthermore, when you look at him in GTA 5, they actually made his shaved head recede even more to illustrate the passage of time. Rockstar could have very easily just copied his hair from GTA 4, but they chose not to and instead created a new shaved hairstyle for him. So how is this relevant to Corhyn? Well, in Elden Ring, there is only one shaved hairstyle, and this hairstyle has receded more than the short hair that Corhyn has. So if he shaved his hair, it would just recede even more due to the limitations of Elden Ring's character creation engine. Grand Theft Auto did not have this limitation because Rockstar are committed to showcasing every stage of male pattern baldness. After the anxiety over his hairline causes him to flee the Roundtable Hold, you can find Corhyn by the map in Altar's Plateau. He is delighted to see you.
How delightful.
However, because he is wearing a blindfold, he cannot find Goldmask, because he cannot see Goldmask. So naturally you have to find Goldmask for him. He is actually just down the road and across a bridge, which unfortunately has been completely destroyed. However, the local town council has constructed a teleporter temporarily until they can begin reconstruction. You can then find a figure at the end of the bridge. His clothing is very revealing, for he is Goldmask, the epitome of male sexuality. Goldmask has no words for you, because you are not a Sigma male. Because you are not a top G. Yeah, it turns out they are actually making NFTs of that guy. That bald man you see in your waking nightmares. The internet is constantly reaching new levels of tomfoolery. Goldmask just stands there and points. What is he pointing at, you ask? It's just a tree. You will find that Corhyn in his search has not moved a single inch. Great job, mate. You can then do his job for him.
Of course, I knew he would be close by.
Well then why didn't you go look for him? You are so incredibly stupid, Corhyn. At least he thanks us for helping him.
And to you too, my sincerest thanks.
What an incredibly nice thing to say to someone. Doesn't that just warm your heart? You will next find Corhyn and Goldmask at the end of a cold, lonely, and miserable bridge. It's actually an incredibly long walk to them, kind of like that movie about Nelson Mandela. Corhyn is absolutely ecstatic to be in the presence of Goldmask. His job is to transcribe the very faint movements of Goldmask's fingers into knowledge. Goldmask is on the verge of an important breakthrough, but it is not completely clear at this stage what it is. Goldmask still has nothing to say to you. At this point, we need to acknowledge the corpse just hanging off the ledge in front of them. This whole time it has just been sitting there. They did not try and pull it up or kick it off. Incredibly rude, and just goes to showcase the hypocrisy of the Golden Order. The three of them hang around here for a while, but we'll move on once you gain access to Lanedell. You can next find them quite deep into Lanedell. They are past Big Bird and up near the massive homeless shelter, just past a group of them. As you approach, you can hear Corhyn begging Goldmask to continue moving his fingers, all while he is just posing in front of some tree. We can gather that Goldmask has some suspicions in regards to Radagon, and Corhyn is a small-minded fool that cannot understand the radiant intellectual that is Goldmask. Goldmask does not feel the need to explain himself, so I will. Corhyn tells you that the Golden Order was founded on the principle that America is the one true god. However, while Goldmask was on his weird vision quest, he found Radagon's name closely associated with Marika's divinity, which probably shouldn't happen because Radagon is supposed to be a mortal champion who married Marika. He's not supposed to actually be a divine being, at least according to the public knowledge of the lands between. So while on his bizarre vision quest, probably induced by hopping on some of that good, Goldmask discovered what we can assume is a divine link between their names. Of course, it is really hard to say how Goldmask even sees this information, because we simply cannot access his stash of the aforementioned good. All that you really need to know is that Goldmask has a suspicion that the connection between Marika and Radagon goes beyond marriage, whatever that means. Corhyn and Goldmask will now just remain here indefinitely, fully cheeked up, as they cannot solve this mystery. So like any good From Software protagonist, you help them along their way. It's not exactly obvious what you have to do. It turns out they are actually quite close to the solution. If you progress further into Lanedell, you will fight a piss ghost of Godfrey. Once you flush him away, you will gain access to the final boss of the zone. By going outside and climbing up some roots, you will find Morgott. However, there is another path that you can take. If you turn left from his boss room, go down an elevator and walk down some stairs, you will find an interesting message written on the ground. It says, "Regression alone reveals secrets," and it just so happens to be placed in front of a statue of Radagon asserting dominance. Now at this point, the solution becomes obvious. It's talking about regression as in linear regression. You know, like the advanced concept in statistics that you can use in supervised machine learning algorithms. Man, how fun is linear regression? Now, in machine learning, you can end up using data with a lot of dimensions to it, which introduces this concept called the curse of dimensionality. This sounds really cool, like it could be a spell in Elden Ring or something. This then makes you think, what other spells in Elden Ring are related to machine learning and other statistical concepts? Law of regression. See, it all makes sense. This puzzle is incredibly easy to solve. You just need the Law of Regression incantation. In order to get this, you need the Golden Order Principia. This can be found very close by in the room where you fought the piss guy. It's up. Kind of like the movie where the old guy's wife dies. Man, what a moving opening sequence. The kid in that film was 8 years old, so the first Call of Duty game that he played probably would have been Black Ops 2. I wonder if Russell from Up played Black Ops 2 Zombies.
But yeah, we need all the luck we can get. You need to spam the comments with luck. I know this is a pre-recorded video, but it's still gonna help, trust me. It's still gonna help.
Do you think he would have liked Buried? And furthermore, I wonder if he would have engaged in typical Call of Duty multiplayer lobby banter. Throughout the film, you get the impression that Russell is a kind-hearted young man. So personally, I don't think he would have trash-talked people in Call of Duty lobbies. It's incongruent with his character. Now, to get this book, you have to climb around on the roots up on the second floor. The entrance to the second floor is along the path to Morgott. Morgoth's arena. You can even open up an incredibly pointless shortcut to the second floor before you go grab the book. However, every time I have gone to get this book, I always assume that you have to jump at it. So I guess the shortcut is incredibly useful. Thank you, shortcut.
No worries.
All you have to do is slowly edge towards it, and apparently you can reach it. Now you have to make an extremely important choice. You can either give the book to the dog or Corhyn. They can both teach you the spells in it, but only one of them is a massive dog with a shell on its back. Once you made your choice, you can finally learn the Law of Regression. It's an interesting incantation because it does not require any faith. In fact, it just requires intelligence. By learning this, you are literally becoming one of those 14-year-old users of the atheism subreddit. It also has one of the coolest animations in the entire game. Now it's finally time to completely destroy Corhyn's perception of his religion with this majestic pose. All you have to do to refute this entire religion, like some debate club kid, is stand in front of the statue and juju on that beat. The statue of Radagon turns into Marika. That's the secret. They are literally the same person. That's what Goldmask saw, and it's what we see in the ending. You can now return to Goldmask and tell him the truth, that Radagon is Marika. This shocks Goldmask because now he has to visualize how that whole relationship even worked. It is so shocking to him because the lands between does not have internet. This means that he hasn't come across suspect fan art while scrolling through Twitter, so this thing is new to him on a conceptual level. He thanks you by teaching you how to assert dominance through Golden Order totality. You can use this to connect with the very essence of Goldmask's being, or to dominate Corhyn's spirit, or even use it in a YouTube thumbnail for your silly video about Grand Theft Auto 4's hairlines. He thanks you for helping Goldmask, and offers to teach you a new incantation called Immutable Shield. It's not really useful for 14-year-old atheists though. Corhyn can't understand what Radagon being Marika means, so he asks us if we have ever browsed fan art.
Do you have a fuller understanding of the matter?
Naturally, I showed him some examples.
Well, either way, I can continue my documentation.
After this shocking development, it will be a while until you find them again. In fact, it is possible to completely miss them. They can be found on a bridge in the Mountaintops of the Giants. You will find Goldmask asserting dominance over a cowering Corhyn. You can even join in. Corhyn seems to be having a mental breakdown because he thinks that Goldmask is losing faith in the Golden Order. However, he still followed him into the Forbidden Lands, which means he also breached the beliefs of his own religion. That's basically all that happens here. You just talk to Corhyn's goo-goo ass, crybaby ass and listen to his whining. To get to the final stage of the questline, you have to nuke Laendel from orbit, which means completing Crumbling, Farum, Azula, and that means you have to fight these clowns. Even though this fight is really annoying, it's worth it for Goldmask. Once you beat up Marika's dog and get the Rune of Death, you can finally conclude Goldmask's questline by nuking Laendel from orbit. Once in Laendel Ashen Capital, you will find Corhyn throwing a tantrum by the massive spear. Feel free to assert dominance over his cowering form, and note that from certain angles his hands look comically large. He brands the revolutionary scholar Goldmask as a heretic, and has a hearty chuckle at the Erd tree burning. Honestly, his behavior isn't that surprising. This is basically what every single Bible study group devolves into. Someone always gets declared a heretic. Naturally, like every From Software NPC, Corhyn dies when you return. And you can steal his clothes. Now you too can cosplay as a goo-goo ass crybaby. Once you are done with that weird guy, you can progress onto the real fruit of your journey. Goldmask can be found in this hole, just past a bridge, and leaning against a cliff. It's it's only right to salute him. He gave birth to the Mending Rune of Perfect Order, so I guess this kind of counts as a Goldmask Bane cutscene. This Mending Rune allows you to get Goldmask's ending. You basically just reform the Golden Order and make it perfect, whatever that means. What we do know is that it would make Corhyn safe, so it's worth it. Because Goldmask died, you can take his clothes and finally unlock your full potential. You too can be fully cheeked up. It's time to get serious. It's time to be real, authentic, and of the culture. Corhyn actually has a valid reason for being a goo-goo-ass crybaby. If you read the description of his drip, it details his tragic backstory. It turns out he was exiled because of some prophecies he made. Now it makes complete sense as to why he was so desperate for the friendship of Goldmask. Corhyn was completely alone. That's why he was willing to follow Goldmask to Alaska, and also why he was so upset when Goldmask started another schism. He had basically lost the only person in his entire life that he cared about, which is kind of sad and perfectly explains why he is a goo-goo-ass crybaby, because there is nowhere else in the world where he would feel accepted. That's the true prepare to crybaby. Furthermore, if you look at the description of Goldmask's clothes, it tells us that he actually used to have disciples, but they all abandoned him. So just like Corhyn, he too is completely alone. That's the true prepare to cry. If you enjoyed this video, you should subscribe to my channel. It would look great on your resume.